Hi all, right, welcome back. Match in Kharkov, German solo, part 14. Yeah, apologies for leaving that part 13 in the middle of kind of nowhere, really. Just put that volume down a bit. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, even for myself, how I managed to take so long to just not even get to doing anything with these units. I must have spent some time at the beginning of the part yakking about stuff. As usual. Well, I don't think I've got much to talk about. I have printed out this questions and answers thing now, though. Eventually got my printer up the stair. And also the errata, so it's lying here. I've also got a wee post that I had, yeah, maybe some things to talk about, but I won't go into them just now. But yeah, as things go on. Right, well, let's see if we can move on with that. So I activated third tank. All the units are there, and I think this is we're looking at Unit 1, and it looks like this is where he was going to end up, wasn't it? And it was adjacent to... Yeah, and then I started realising how important the cards in my hand might actually be. When I looked at them at first, I thought, right, I don't see anything very interesting there. Right away, if this guy's moving there, and remember, urban infiltration, if he activates again, he just strolls into there. So, yeah, I think the second SS may well be getting activated next turn, and yeah, at least securing this Zimyev, this VP town. So is this with movement method? Where are we here? Adjacent to jam a VP hex and near objective, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's the one we're on, isn't it? Yeah, there was no VP hexes to just take. So this is an ascending order, adjacent to German VP hex. Anything closer to within 4 hexes. Yeah. Prefer VP hex targeted exclusively by the active front. Oh yeah, because I think he had a couple of options, didn't he? He could go down to this one too, couldn't he? Yeah. Oh, and in fact, yeah, he can go to all three. So I must have preferenced it to that. So what are the preferences? Targeted exclusively by the active front. Well, they're all targeted. Oh, wait a minute. Right, these two are just for the active front. This one's for both. Zimyev can be targeted by both exclusively. That means just alone, doesn't it? I need to get my dictionary out now. If it's not a calculator, it's a dictionary. Yeah, that's right enough then, isn't it? So, well, just as well I noticed that then. Because it does say exclusively, targeted exclusively by the active front. So that rules out that one then. Because it's targeted, what would the word be then? Well, I mean, exclusively means targeted only for that front. The other way of looking at it would be targeted. That's sorry. The third tank army are targeted only for this. Sorry, only for this VP town, and they're both. So that's only and that's both. They're both targeted for that. So okay, well hopefully I've got that right. And that's not going to be where he's going to go then. So he's going to go... Right, where is he going to go? Right, okay, so that means that's going to be his 3 possibilities then. Yeah, I suppose that is a preference, right enough. Prefer targeted exclusively by active front. So if that was his only option, then he would still go there. But he has 2 that are exclusively targeted for Vornez front. So he's going to look at them. And then occupied by the least German strength. Ah, yeah, okay. How did I... Yeah, I remember reading that last night. Why did I break it down to this one then? Maybe we'll get to right the least German strength. So that takes these two options away, because this has got 5 strength in it. This has got 0 strength in it. And then this had 0 in it as well. And I remember going between the two. So yeah, of course I'm thinking these are all targeted exclusively for the front. I wasn't considering this one being. So I must have been able to break it down to this one. Well, what's the next preference then? Not across the Dnieper River hex side from the moving units hex. No. And then with the highest VP value, I'm pretty sure that this is where he's moving to. But they're all 1 VP. A Soviet unit starting adjacent to German VP hex with 4 hexes. Right, okay. It's going to come down to when the tiebreakers kick in, isn't it? Because tiebreakers are going to go closest to the front, aren't they? Yeah, so we couldn't break it down any further. So yeah, I probably had this hex targeted and this hex targeted, and then had to move to tiebreakers, and the first tiebreaker is closest to the unit's objective marker, and that's clearly 2 hexes away. But I don't think this one counts then. I mean, yeah, exclusively means only alone, just that. Whereas that's not exclusive, it's got 2. Sorry if I'm struggling. I told you, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, Ken. Okay, so, yeah, well, I think it's going to be that hex. He's going to surround him as well. How did I let that happen? Yeah, I don't think there's much I could have done about it. The third tank are on the move, aren't they? Okay, so Unit 1 moves 1, 2, 3, and then 4 into here. And I'm pretty sure that's where he's going to stay, because he's surrounding the guy, so... that's where he was. So, yeah, there was only one option from there, but I suppose we do need to go through the movement and go on to 9.25. Right, okay, that's a good time to bring up. Right, it's from a question here that I've posted on BGG, and I've just printed out the 2 pages here. And this was breaking preferences down. How do we go about this? You've got the movement method, you've got tiebreakers, you've got restrictions, okay, but they're always in there, and you've got 9.25, which adjusts and overrides certain preferences and priorities and whatever. So Martin's response had been, well, he's specifically talking about the example I posted and the picture that I posted. So maybe I'll not read through his. I think he's inclined to think the same way as what John Brown's put down here. And also, I had a comment from Michael. Sorry, I'll just say Greek Michael. I hope that's okay, Michael. I'm not sure your second name, to be honest, and I'm sure it's a name I couldn't pronounce, because I had another comment from Michael from Ohio in the USA. So apparently, yeah, there's a few Michaels about. But anyway, Michael had said that his way of doing it was movement methods. You follow the movement method, you tie break if you need to, you then look at 9.25, and then you tie break again if you need to. And funnily enough, John Brown's one of his replies to this post is exactly the same. So he's saying in the extreme it could be movement method, 9.24, which is tiebreakers, 9.25, and then 9.24 again. Well, I like that, although if you notice after that he talks about the only complicating factor is what you do when the initial target hex puts you adjacent to 2+ German unit stacks. And this is, remember, I asked the question about what do you do when you move against, we were adjacent to 3 German units. How do you 9.25 around that? Do you take them all? Do you look at the lowest strength? Because that can come into it, the lowest strength. So and that's what he's saying. He's saying, do you consider 9.25 with respect to both unit stacks? He's talking about 2 units here. or do you pick one unit stack as a target for 9.25? And that's basically what my other question was. It was regarding that, about how you deal with multiple, moving against multiple German units. He says, my go-to ruling right now has been to target the weakest, then westernmost, then northernmost. But it's entirely possible I should be using 9.25 with both unit stacks. So there's some doubt there. And then, of course, Martin's problem in regards to this question was, he says, I have a slight problem with this process. By following movement method 11, okay, this is based just on movement method 11, preference A, you know that the Soviet unit will move adjacent to a German unit, so you should skip the remaining preferences and use the preference of 9.25. However, preference B, adjacent to unit with least strength, would never be used in that case. So that could come in it, and also if there's multiple units. I think there's something that still needs to be dealt with within that. What I'm going to do from now on is that's how I'm going to do it until we hear something more concrete. I'm going to go with the movement method. I'm going to look at tiebreakers if I need to after going through the preferences of the movement method. I'm then going to look at 9.25 and adjust. And if I've got multiple choices within that adjustment, I'm not going to go back to the movement method. I'm just going to go to tiebreakers, because I think that sounds a better way to do it. But it might be wrong though. So that's. And then when it comes to multiple units, well, I think I'm going to go by not what John has suggested there. I'm going to go by what he thinks it could be possible that using 9.25 with both unit stacks, or you look at all the unit stacks that you're adjacent to, and your 9.25 just round about all 3 or 4 or how many there is, and go with there. So I think I'm going to do it that way. But yeah, it does look like there's some things that still need to be answered within that. Okay, that's enough, Grant. So where are we? 9.25. Yeah, we moved the unit to there. So is he adjusting? I don't think he will, because well, where else can he go? Oh no, he's not got a choice, has he? He only had one hex that was going to get adjacent to the. Oh, and do you know what? That's another walk-in, isn't it? In fact, that one doesn't even need to use urban infiltration at the moment. Can we get that second SS unit in there? So I'm just thinking ahead here. Well, that's a nice wee road into there, but then it just goes broken. Great. 1, 2. No, I don't think you're getting in there, Grant. Not with this guy. And now that 48 core unit's surrounded. Oh dear. Dear. Yeah, we're in trouble. What's other cards I've got in hand? I've got 4th Panzer Army card. I could get. Does that not activate core rouse? But I don't think any of them are getting round there either. I don't think anything. And then, like I say, this guy's surrounded. And even this 58 core unit, 1, 2, 3, and it's 1 extra to cross the Donets River for infantry. Yeah, there you go. Well, there's a good reason to not do what I done when I did move that guy back. I deliberately moved him back and left him outside the town. And there you go. That could be, because even if I put something in here, then they've got that urban infiltration. I'm going to have to try and do something along the lines. Anyway, okay. Well, let's see. They're not finished moving yet. Although he can't get any further round. They can't get a unit into this hex. Or he might consider going there, but. Right, so yeah, I don't even need to check 9.25 because that's only hex. But the first preference was, what was it, surround, was it not? Well, you got the operational limit, then a hex that would cause the German unit to become surrounded. Well, that's exactly what that does there, so that's why. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Okay. So Unit 3, now see, is it an unoccupied hex or not? No, it's just adjacent to German VP hex and near. Oh, wait a minute. That's not nearer his objective. Does he need to be nearer? Yeah, he needs to be closer to his objective, Grant. What are you doing? I don't even think I looked at that, or did I? Oh, I need to look at the video. I've still not watched through completely part 13. I did start it, but yeah, this is a whole lot of rubbish I'm doing here, isn't it? Sorry, guys. Let's put this guy back, because that's definitely not near his objective. Now, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexes away from his objective. Well, this could be a bit of a relief to me then. Hi all. Right. This is probably still just going to be a continuation of part 14. I was going to completely restart it from the beginning, because I made a right shambles of it, of this 3rd Tank Army impulse. So I finished off with part 13 last night, and there's a couple of things at the end that get wrong, but one of the things I do actually get right is realise that this is my front objective for the 3rd tank and not this, because if you'd just seen any of the footage, well, in fact, I might be leaving a bit in at the beginning of this that makes me think that this is my front objective. So I concentrate everything on that rather than that. It just makes a complete mess of things. I thought I was getting away with it because most of the units ended up around here. And then I actually realised that because a lot of these units, by moving to here, are going to be closer to this rather than my original thinking closer to that. That's why I wasn't putting them there, because they went any closer to that. However, it's this I should have been looking at. So I was redoing it and I thought I'll get away with it, and then I realised no, you can't, because most of the units at first are going to end up in this hex because they're going to be closer to this objective, which is their objective, and adjacent to the VP hex that's got 0 strength, whereas this one has got a strength of 5, and that's the second preference. This is the first preference is what is the first preference, Graham? As it's targeted exclusively by the active front, and this is the bit that I actually got wrong at the end of part 13, which I'm going to put a wee note in the header, because now I don't know if I mentioned this already before, because I don't know where I'm cutting into 14, because I thought I'd leave the beginning bit in, because I did have some chat regarding some things that I wanted to get across regarding how I'm going to do things, the sequence I'm going to go through things, movement method, tiebreakers, 9.25, then tiebreakers. I've had a wee discussion of that at the beginning, so I'd like to leave that in if I can. So I'm not sure if I've mentioned, this is actually not exclusively targeted for the Vornes front, it's a bit of both. So the first preference is exclusively targeted for Vornes front, or for the front, the active front. So it wants to look at these two before it wants to look at this one. And then between these two, the second preference is least strength. And there's 5 strength in there and no strength in there. So that's where that's the preferential VP hex to start with. But because I thought I wasn't getting closer to thinking this was my objective, I wasn't able to do that, and I moved them down here. However, I now realise that by moving some of them here, certainly Unit 1's moving into there, because he's closer to his objective, which is here, and he's adjacent to an empty 0 strength, 0 German strength VP hex. Okay, so yeah, a lot of recording I've just made, I'm just gonna have to scrap. I mean, I didn't get anywhere near. I thought I was coming up here. At, well, I've already recorded around 10 minutes. I just had to wipe it as well. I thought I was just going to come up to start combat checks, and realised I'd just been made a mess of it. Okay, so well, I should be able to get through it a bit quicker about moving the units. Yeah, right, Grad. And we'll try and do it properly. Like I say, I'll slide this bit in just after the beginning of part 14. Now I might be talking, like I say, wrongly about this front objective being the relevant front objective, but I now realise that I've made a mistake with that. So, right, let's clear it up then. Well, right from the start, movement method. We obviously, I don't know where did I finish off I finished off part 13, knowing that with no VP hexes we can take. So we're looking at movement method 2, aren't we? And that is adjacent to a German VP hex and near objective, and it's moved to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. Well, in actual fact, that would actually be within 4 hexes as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah. So in actual fact, it wouldn't matter. This unit, no. You might find this unit 4, who's 1, 2, 3 away, but could maybe reach here, would quite possibly go to there before it would go down here, because it's got 0 strength. We'll go through it and make sure anyway. So looking at unit 1, right, so which is the VP hex that he's wanting to target? That's what the preferences in movement method 2 are all about. So move to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes. Well, again, like I've already said, that's within 4 hexes, but in actual fact, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. If he moves there, he's only 1, 2, 3 away. Yeah, so he is closer there, but that's irrelevant as well because he's within 4. And then the next preference, the preferences are targeted exclusively by the active front. Well, that is this one and this one. It is not this one. So, I mean, it can go to there if it's no other choices, but preferences say this one or this one. And then the second preference says occupied by the least German strength. Well, this is 5 strength, this is 0 strength. So he's wanting to move there. And the only hex possible adjacent to there, because we can't get in here, we can't get through this gap. Turn that down a little bit. Zoom in a little bit maybe. We can't get in that gap, so this is the only hex that he can go to. So I'm just going to get this moving because I've been up this for ages now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he moves in there from there, and because he's only 1 hex he can go to, he's not going to adjust for 9.25. We don't need to look at any other hexes, and he is now, well, he's within 4 of his objective marker anyway. However, he's also closer, right? He's closer to his objective marker by 1 hex. He's adjacent to a German VP hex, and it's got 0 strength compared to 5 strength. So I think that's where he should go. But then, I tell you, this guy's been everywhere. So hopefully he's in the right spot now. Right, so Unit 3 is the next one, and he's going to do exactly the same thing. And there's no, like I say, there's not another hex that we can reach. It's adjacent. Ooh. He's got 7 movement. No, I can't get in there either. No, I was just looking at it getting around the back. No, I can't. There's no gap, so I can't get around there. So I can't reach any of these hexes. So this is only hex I can reach. So Unit 3, I'm not going to mess about. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go down here as well. Join him. Again, he is now closer to his front objective and adjacent to German VP hex. It's got 0 strength. And again, he can't adjust. We don't need to look at tiebreakers, and we don't need to adjust because there's only 1 hex that you can reach around that German unit. Okay. Hang on, Grant. Hang on, stop. Yeah, I'm getting that wrong, haven't I? So, Unit 1's there, that was right. Unit 3 wants to move here. And of course, I'm saying it can't tactically adjust because we can't get to any one of these hexes around this. But this isn't what this isn't what 9.25 does. So, in actual fact, we do need to look at Unit 1 as well. I mean, sure we're not, but what I mean by that is, he's moved here, he is adjacent to this, however, he's adjacent to this German unit. And that's what 9.25 looks at. It doesn't look at adjacent to VP hexes. It's tactical preferences when moving adjacent to German units. We're not trying to move adjacent to a German unit here, we're trying to move adjacent to a VP hex, a German VP hex, but it just so happens that's where we've ended up. So we still need to look at a possible adjustment. And that could end up being a hex not adjacent to the VP hex. So this is where things feel a bit, I think that's right though, because I mean, remember this means that if a move by a given movement method would end in a hex adjacent to a German unit, then apply the tactical adjustments of 9.25, even if those adjustments result in the move shifting to an end hex not conforming to the tiebreakers, preferences or requirements of the movement method. Make sure, however, that the unit's move conforms to the rules for movement and the restrictions on 9.23. So that's huge. We're trying to move adjacent to a VP hex here, and it could end up, I've not looked at the 9.25. It could end up, this guy could end up here. You know what I mean? I think it's unlikely. He's closer to his objective there. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay there, but we might find that some of the other units moving down there might do that. Well, I'm pretty sure Unit 3 is not going to go there. He's going to actually go in there. So, and like it says, that could then result in the move shifting to an end hex not conforming to the tiebreaker's preferences or requirements. I mean, the requirement is move to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. But that could be wiped out by 9.25 and it could end up in a different hex, not adjacent to the VP hex. Strange, but yes, this is what happens. Okay, so well, what are preferences in 9.25? Because now, I mean, this guy can reach this hex, this hex, this hex, this hex, around this German unit. So he's got a few possibilities. So he would prefer, I know he's surrounding him right away, so he's going to stay exactly where he is. Where are we? A hex and operational limit, right, we don't care about that. Hex that would cause a German unit to become surrounded. So he's in the right hex because that surrounds the unit. If he was in there, that would not surround, that would not surround, and that would not surround. So he is in the right spot. Okay, good, right, Unit 3. Where does he want to go to? Again, he wants to go to here with his requirements and preferences, because his requirement is a VP hex, German VP hex. His preference is exclusively for Vorness front, and the second preference is least German strength. So he's settled on that. So that's his requirements and preferences. He doesn't need to tie break because he's only got one hex that he can go to satisfy the requirements and the preferences. When he gets there, however, he's now looking at, well, that's Unit 3, so I'm going to bring him down and leave that back up there. When he gets there, though, he's now looking at 9.25, which says, current Soviet operational limit, right, no. A hex that would cause a German unit to become surrounded, no, because it's already surrounded. A hex in Soviet support, they are all in Soviet support. A hex not occupied by or adjacent to a Soviet unit. This would be occupied by a Soviet unit. This would be adjacent to a Soviet unit. So would that, and so would that. So none of them apply. And then an empty or garrison hex. Well, this isn't empty, this isn't empty, this isn't empty, this is empty. So he's going to adjust into there. As strange as it may seem. And I think that's right. Because, like I say, it breaks the rules of the requirements that were needed. He's only interested in this German unit. That's what 9.25 does. Okay, we're going to stick with that and hope that it's all right. And to be honest, it's maybe just as well it's come to this, because I'm not sure I was taking that into consideration when I was moving these. I think I was focused. I mean, it's different when it comes to moving adjacent to this VP hex. Well, in some ways it is. We've got this other German unit here, actual fact. So, but because at least there's a German unit in the hex that we're moving adjacent to, and then you can clearly see 9.25 wanting to adjust round here. But you can see I was looking at trying to adjust round here, and that's not right. It's round the German unit. Okay, that was that. Right, who's next then? Unit 4. Right, he's further along here though, so where's he going to go? Right, I think he wants to go there as well. Okay, and you might think, well, maybe not, but he's 1, 2, 3 hexes away there. If he moves to there, he's 1, 2, 3 hexes away. So you say, well, he's not getting closer, but remember, it's moved a hex closer to or within 4 hexes. This hex is still within 4, so it doesn't matter if it's closer or not. It could be further away, but it's still got the better preferential VP hex, which is exclusively targeted for Vornest front, and it's got the least German strength. So again, this guy wants to go there, so I'm moving him there. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And that was there. However, we're now going to look and see if he's wanting to adjust. He's not got an empty hex this time, however, so maybe not. He's not surrounding, he's in support, he's not got a hex occupied by adjacent to, they're all going to be adjacent to a Soviet unit. And there's no empty hexes, and really? Okay, preference F is a hex not occupied by an active unit. Where was this guy? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think he can reach that one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can reach this hex, right? And that is not occupied by an active unit. It's occupied by an inactive unit. I really hope I'm getting this right, because it's looking a bit daft now, isn't it? So he would move from there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into there. Well, sorry, yeah. Well, that's what you do. He's got the movement to do it. He's adjusting from here into a preferential hex adjacent to this German unit. I mean, you can see that we're gathering a force around this guy. We're now flanking him. You know, we only had one hex attack. We're now got flank on him. So you can see there's some. I've just got to go with that. That's what that's doing. It's adjusting it, and like we saying, now he's further away from his front objective than he was. He was only 1, 2, 3 away. He's further away, and he's not adjacent to a VP hex. So, yeah. Yeah, but I think it's right. I do. I mean, remember the first sentence of tactical preferences when moving adjacent to German units it says apply to all, and it's got it in bold. Apply to all moves in which a Soviet unit would end its move in a hex adjacent to a German unit. So again, it's not saying it's starting to go to a German unit. It's not even saying that. It just says if it ends its move adjacent to a German unit, you need to look here, 9.25, and you need to go through that, and it could, and it says that. It says it could break all the rules. It could break everything that you've just done. Well, we'll move further away from our front objective, and we're not adjacent to a VP hex. So, okay, we're going to stick with it for now, and well, we shall see. So that was unit 4. So have we not got a 6? Yeah, here's 6 down here. So what's he going to do? Oh yeah, again, I think he wants to go there as well. He might actually do it this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he can move to there. And he's moving adjacent to German VP hex, targeted exclusively for his front, which has got the least German strength in it. And he's not going to be closer to his front objective, but he is within 4, so he can do it. So he's going to move here. Oh, was it there? No, I think I counted 5. Was it not there? He was. See that? You take your eye off things, and well, I know he was able to move the distance. I think it was there, wasn't it? It might have been there though. I'm sure I counted 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if I'm moving him back for some reason, I'll check it. But I think he's going to move. So that's him. He's happy with that and his movement method. He doesn't need to tie break because there's only one hex that he can reach that's adjacent to this VP hex. Oh wait, now he's landed adjacent to German unit. Right, 9.25. Right. Yeah. Again, no surround, no support. They're all going to be adjacent. None of them are empty. And this time, a hex not occupied by an active unit. Well, he couldn't reach. This is the only other hex that he could reach. That he can't reach it. But I'll tell you what, some of these other guys might well be going into that hex. So he can't find. He can't break 9.25 down. So now this is where I find the slight grey area, because this 9.24 movement method tiebreakers says if more than one destination hex meets the requirements and preferences of a given movement method, and I noticed Michael just made a comment on one of my posts and he pointed that out. I mean, I did when I read it, I'm sure I highlighted the fact that it says movement method. It doesn't say that it's an adjustment. So we're going to have to know how to deal with that. Is that, should we tie break from this? And I mean, if a tie break, should I not just be tie breaking from where the movement methods were ending the unit? Well, no. Not really, Grant. If I've got two 9.25 possible hexes here, yes, we tie break between the two. But right now, we've got one hex that the movement method landed in. 9.25 has found nothing else. Should that guy not just sit there and we shouldn't even be looking at tiebreakers? That's what I was playing at first. But I'm not so sure. Now, it could well be that the tiebreaker's going to leave that guy there. I think we're going to get lucky again with this. But we need to know how to deal with this. So tiebreakers are closest to the unit's objective marker if it's in play. So between all these three options, which this guy would have via 9.25, this is going to be closest to 1, 2, 3. This is going to be closest to. So fortunately enough, he's going to stay where he is. But I'm going to need to know that, because I'm pretty sure at some point that's going to crop up and I'm going to say, well, what do I do here? Do I tie break between these? Or do I just settle on the hex that the movement method came to? And if the movement method came to more than one and it tie break between them, then should we not just settle on that hex? It's tricky to, that's what we need a way of knowing how you look through these things. So I'm sure we'll get it at some point. I'm sure we will. Right, who was that? Was that 6? Yeah, 6. Okay. Okay, so Unit 8's going to be next, right, and this is where it's going to change up, because he's a 3-stepper. And there's 4 steps already in this hex. And remember, this is the only hex that is going to be adjacent to this German VP hex. So he can't look here anymore, and he's not going to go around there. I guess as one of these infantry units will probably do that, or it could end up both, 2 of them might, but anyway, we'll get to that. So if he can't go to that, he's then got to look at the next option, and we know that this isn't exclusively Vornes front, this is. So that takes preference over even the fact this has got 0 strength and this has got 5 strength. This is the one that he's wanting to go move to. So where can he go then? Okay, so we've got 2 options this time. And obviously this is getting closer to his front objective. 1, 2, 3. In fact, it's within 4 as well. Exclusively for Vornes front and the least strength. Because remember that one's not Vornes front. Well, this one's the one he wants to go to, but he can't because he's got 3 steps and he can't fit in that hex. So he's got to then find somewhere else. So it's going to be the 2 hexes. So, like, can he break that down? Yeah, this isn't. That's the thing. See, movement method 2 only decides, all the preferences are just to decide which VP hex you're going for. So there's no point looking at movement method 2 anymore if you've got more than one option. I need to either go to 9.25 or tiebreakers. I feel they need to go to tiebreakers first, but then it's kind of pointless because then you're going to 9.25. So I think you're just wasting yourself some time. But if we were, yeah, just humour me. If we were to tie break, it'd be closest to the unit's objective marker. Well, these are both just 1 hex away, as we know that this is the objective marker. And then it would be an empty hex. They're both empty. The hex furthest in the compass direction indicating the objective marker. So it would be this hex that he would go to, and that's Unit 8. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then down the road 4 into there. He was there, wasn't he? So yeah, that does matter. That did matter there. Because I'll tell you why. Because see if I'd looked at 9.25 and looked at these 2 hexes, because this is adjacent to this guy as well as this guy. So did it matter? Let me just, is it because there's 2 hexes and I need to break it down? Hang on. Let me think. Let me not do tiebreakers here and consider 9.25. So between the 2 hexes, but you can't do that, Grant. You can't do that. What I'm saying here is, say we do tiebreakers now and it ends up this hex. We're then considering the possibility that the unit might go in here or in here, because he could consider being around this guy. So yeah, I think we need to tie break first there, definitely. Let me grab somebody here. Give me some German unit. If there being a German unit in there, and there were 2 possibilities adjacent to the VP hex, and we wanted to tie break, yeah, if we tie break and then we realise this is the westernmost hex, then he needs to look at possible hexes round this unit and possible hexes round this unit, doesn't it? Yeah, I think there's some things that need to be sorted out here. Okay, well, my take on that is I'm going to tie break first, which I might be getting a bit myself muddled up with that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a tie break first from there. That's a westernmost option. Now, I then can look at the possibility of adjusting into this hex, because that would be adjacent to that. But I can't, however, look at adjusting round this guy, because that's not where I am. I'm only adjacent to this German unit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting myself in a tizzy there. Maybe I'm getting myself muddled up. Oh, although some of you might know what I'm going on about. Right. Well, is he going to adjust? Is he surrounding? No. Is he? Right. Damn. That's not a time I wanted my concentration broken. Okay. So. Yeah, the movement method's drawing him here with a tiebreaker, right? So is he adjusting? A hex not. Oh well, he's going to stay where he is, because this is not occupied by or adjacent to a Soviet unit, and this one would be adjacent to a Soviet unit. Okay, so that's fine. So he's good where he is. Right, unit 9. Okay, now he's only 2 steps, so he might want to go in here, I think. And, well, you know what? He might want to go in here, but you know where he might end up? Over here. Okay, let's see if that is the case. So Unit 9 wants to get closer to his army objective, his front objective, which is here. So if he moves 1, 2, 3 into here, it's adjacent to this, he's closer, well, it's within 4. Yeah, that's that, he's going there. So 1, 2, 3, so he moves into there, and then we try and adjust, and we get to 9.25F, which says a hex not occupied by an active unit. So because we're adjacent to this German unit, can we reach a hex from there with my movement allowance that is not occupied by an active unit? Well, yes we can. 1, 2, 3 into here. So he's then going to say, no, I'm not going there at all. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 into there. So, I mean, in all honesty, is this a bad thing for them? Not really. They've got this guy surrounded. They're sitting out. I mean, they weren't able to take Volchansk anyway. If they activate again, they've got the urban infiltration that just can. Assuming this guy's still around, that is. They've got urban infiltration that can just move them into the hex. So, is this a bad idea? You know, maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it is. I guess if you'd seen how I had things before, they were all around this guy, and that's because I've just been looking at things wrong. Okay, who's next? That was unit number 9. We have 16. So, well, he's going to come down here as well and settle this time, I think. Yeah, he is. I'm not even going to put cubes out. 1, 2, 3. He's going to come down there because there's a space in there. He's adjacent to his VP hex. He's closer to or within 4 of his army objective, however you want to look at it. He's going to glance at 9.25, but this time he's not going to find anything. And again, I think that's when you should settle on this. I mean, again, if we look at tiebreakers, it's still going to be that hex. But I could see the case where sometimes, if you were to look at tiebreakers, you know, if we were trying to say, well, he could be in either one of these 4 hexes, tiebreakers could maybe take you somewhere else, and I don't think that would work. So yeah, so just again, surround, support, not adjacent, empty or garrison, not occupied by an active unit. Well, oh. Yeah, okay. That was right, because when that guy went there, the hex is not occupied by an active unit, and now it is. And then when he went there, that done the same. So they're all occupied by active units. So he's going to stay where he is. If I am meant to look at tiebreakers there, he's closer to his front objective. Let me know your thoughts on that one, like. I mean, should I be tie-breaking between the four? I don't think I should. Right, who's next? 24. So this is full now, we can't look here. So, and we know this is not exclusively for Vornes front. So this is, so he's wanting to move towards that. So where's he going to go? So yeah, there's the two options. So again, we've got to find a preference. There's no point looking at movement method 2 though, because it doesn't preference hex choice options, it just preferences the VP hex. So tiebreakers are, is that right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's tiebreakers, it's closest to the unit's objective marker. They're both adjacent. And then an empty hex. So it's going to be there. I think 9.25 would end up being the same. So 1, 2, and then it's 1, 2, because he's crossing that river actually. 1, 2, and then it's 2 into there. So that's 4. So now this is where something else kicks in though, doesn't it? Because he's moved from there to there. There were his two options. That's where he tie break to. But now if you look at 9.25 and consider the fact he's adjacent to this German unit, you could actually 1, 2, no, he's not going to get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could actually be moving into this hex. And you know what? Well, maybe not. No, I thought it was maybe surrounded. It's not surrounded. But well, okay. Well, 9.25, Grant. Have a look. A hex that would cause German unit to become surrounded. So, assuming I am considering the hex he's in, this hex, and this hex. Because this feels wrong though, doesn't it? Come on, you're not telling me this doesn't feel wrong. Because these two hexes, if it come down to one of the two, would not be adjacent to the VP hex, whereas these two would. So surely something's not right there, or am I getting that wrong? Because that's how I'm starting to think that, well, yeah, this is the thing. And of course the other thing here is these two German units, of strength wise, this is the weakest unit. In fact, was that not what John Brown had said he would have done? Let me see. I've got it printed out here just to see. Not that I'm trying to, I just want to see what you thought, John. Yeah, he says the only complicating factor is what to do when the initial target hex puts you adjacent to two German unit stacks, right? Okay, so this is the initial target hex, and it puts us adjacent to two German stacks. So do you consider 9.25 with respect to both unit stacks? This is exactly the case I've got here now, what John's talking about. So with respect to both, yeah, do you consider 9.25 with respect to both these units, okay? And that opens up these two possible hexes. Or do you pick one unit stack as the target for 9.25? Well, there you go. Now, this is where he goes. My go-to ruling right now has been to target the weakest. Well, that would mean he would be looking at this one. Then westernmost, then northernmost, but it's entirely possible I should be using 9.25 with both unit stacks. Now, I decided I was not going to do that, and I was going to do what he's just said at the end there, consider both unit stacks. But surely this guy should only be going here or here. Because he's then moving into hexes that are not conformant. I mean, I know 9.25 can break these rules, but yeah, that feels wrong. Yeah. I think need some help with this. Okay, well, will it matter? I'm going to get lucky again. I think I'm probably... Well, no, I'm not, am I? Well, I might, because this is an empty hex he's moved into. Right, what would it tie break to? It's not surrounding anybody, is it? No. Is it? No, it's not. It's in support. A hex not occupied by or adjacent to a Soviet unit. Well, this would be adjacent. This would be adjacent. This would be adjacent. This would be adjacent. Yeah. So that doesn't break it down anymore. An empty or garrisoned hex. Well, this is the one that he's settled on. However, these two are empty as well. A hex not occupied by an active unit. Well, the three are not occupied by an active unit and they're empty. So, going right through 9.25, it then leaves three options that you would possibly then move back to tiebreaker. I think we are going to get away with it, are we? No, we're... well, it's going to be close, actually. So, preference A, closest to the unit's objective marker. Ah, yeah, it is, because these are two away. These are two away, and this one's adjacent. And this one was empty. So, in actual fact, we do get away with it. Now, have I got away with that, or do you think that the way I've done that was right, and that's how it worked out? Because I'm not so sure. But it could be. It could be that all these things are being considered, because there you go, even after 9.25 and tiebreakers, and introducing this German unit, it still ended up in which I think is the right hex. Okay. Right. Yeah, let's do it. Right, let's move on. Come on, Grant. 40 minutes going there, and I don't know what I'm cutting off. Yeah. You know what? Part 40. Oh, no, I didn't. No. Right, okay. Never mind. Move on. 26. 26 is next. Yeah, so just thinking about that, I did check tiebreakers twice there as well, didn't I? I mean, that's what I said I wanted to do. Movement method, 9.24 tiebreakers if needed, 9.25 to check for adjustment, then 9.24 tiebreakers again. So it did all work out, I suppose. So let's just see if we come across anything that's really ridiculous, man. So they're the two options again for this is unit 26. So we need a tie break, closest to the unit's objective marker, empty hex. We don't have an empty hex this time. Hex furthest in the direction, it's going to be that one. So he's going to come down here. Is he going to adjust? Now he's only adjacent to just this one German unit. Do you know what? The next guy is. The next guy's going to go in here or here. I'm sure of it. And then we're going to be wondering. So 9.25 with that guy in there. We can't break any of that down. No. So, well, if we went back to tiebreakers, it would come to westernmost again and it would go there. So that is right. This guy can hit both these hexes as well. I'm going to put him down the bottom. He can hit both these hexes as well. Oh no, he's going to come here as well, isn't he? Right, we're getting away with that then. And then tiebreakers are closest to unit's objective marker, empty hex, hex furthest in the compass direction. Yeah, so we are getting away with it, yeah. So he's going to come here too. And he's not going to adjust as well. So it's just going to be the same. And there's... Oh, he was flipped. These are two one-step... Right, one-step units. No, he's down the bottom. He's 30. So that's 1, 2, and this is a 3-step unit on the top. Right, that's everybody moved then. Yeah, so some interesting things happening there. Right, I want to get moving because I need to try and do something with this. Get this finished and get moved on a bit. because when you're not going to see a lot of the footage that I've had to wipe out. Not that there was no any information, we didn't have any attacks or anything like that, it was just like moving things about wrongly. And I'll tell you what, I'm still not convinced I'm going to get through this and put it out there and find out this was right. I think things could happen. Right, let's get on to the attack checks then. So we've got, in fact, only 2 possible looks. Well, I suppose this guy could look at that right enough as well. But so in ascending order, with no reserves, we've not got assault coordination in the. Right, we're going to look at Unit 1 first. So let's just home in on that a little bit. So yeah, this is a lot, isn't it? So we've got 5, 8, 11, 11, 15, 19, 23. 23, remember the 69th Army units underneath are not involved. So 23 to 5. He does have an IP though, so 23 to 6. He's not adjacent to 23 to 6, so what is that? Oh, it's just short of 41, isn't it? So it's 3 to 1. 23 to 6. 18. Yeah, 23 to 6 is 3 to 1. So that's a goal. They're going to go. They're going to attack. Right, so. Okay. So we've got 23 to 5 now. Checking it unsituationally. I'm sure that's not a word. Maybe it is. 23 to, what did I say? 5. So it's 4 to 1. So 4 to 1 odds. Chip pools are 1, 2, 3, and then in this stack we've got another 3, I think. Yeah. So we've got 6 chip pools. He's not in the artillery barrage zone. So 4 to 1 odds with 6 chip pools. That is not overwhelming. So but we don't have a reserve. So we then move to draw combat tactics, don't we? Right, where's my other play raid? No combat stuff in that. Oops. So attack, add active reserves, draw subject card, play its combat tactic. And then check our auxiliary card, right. I think I maybe nudged things there, did I? Sorry. Right, well, let's just zoom out a little bit and draw a combat tactic. Right, here we go. Combat tactic is air power. Ooh, that means they're not going to use the what do you call it? Auxiliary card, because it's got air power and partisans. Right, so anyway, that brings air power, takes them up to large attack, 7 chip pools. Doesn't increase the odds. So auxiliary card, apply if it's combat tactics. Apply its combat tactics if all are different and beneficial. Well, they're not all different. This was something that cropped up before in enemy action or den. There was a bit of debate about. So they are saying that because we've got air power already, we're not going to play this card at all. Even though we would maybe benefit from partisans. Actually, I don't think we would. I think it's a clear hex. So that's not going to be taken from the auxiliary card box. It's going to stay there. It might get used in the next attack, if there is one. And yeah, that's it. Right, we can play a card. Well, okay. Suppose it's worth a look. Right, we've got air power, artillery, assault coordination's not any good. Artillery would be beneficial. I mean, I do have my 4th Panzer Army card for any tactic, but well, I know the result I want here. I want D2, because D1's going to remove the IP, and D2's going to let me retreat 1 hex. Is he a 3-stepper? He is. Interesting. He's going to D2 would let me retreat into Volchansk. I'm going to take a step loss with that retreat though, mind. Well, I'm going to take a step loss full stop when I retreat anyway. So, and then D2 would remove a step. I mean, what's the chances of ending with that? What, I surely don't want to use a 4th Panzer Army card for any combat tactic. Panzer Battalion, that's always a good one to remember from the Soviets, so anyway. Add 2 to the combat strength, add 1 to the strength of the German defence. So it would up me to 6, 23 to 6, so it would knock the odds down to 3 to 1. This adds armour, we've already got armour. 1 attacking German infantry unit may advance. It's different. It's not as good. That was like the Soviets. What was it? Was it tank? No, was it tank battalion? No, can't remember what it was. There, tank brigade and rifle brigade. They reduced their hits. So 1 attacking German infantry unit may advance as if it were a mech unit. Yeah, it only adds 1 strength. It's not pull out, retreat defending, stack 2 hexes. Well, we don't want to retreat 2 hexes. Reinforced battle we can't use. Intelligence. After all combat chits are drawn and revealed in the combat, remove 1 chit of your choice before applying results. You may also, at your option, replace the removed chit with another chit drawn from the cup. Well, yeah, that would be good. Or battlefield replacements. Defender only. Flip 1 defending 1-step infantry unit to its 2-step side before drawing combat chits. Or reduce defender hits by 1 after combat chit draws. So that would be good as well. Intelligence would be the best out of the lot because I kind of want to manipulate a D2 result. So it would be the best option, I think. But it is using the 4th Panzer Army card to do that. Shouldn't I just take my chances at 4 to 1 and... Seven chit pools, so large attack chit pools. Yeah, there's quite a high chance of getting more than 2 to 1 out of this, isn't there? I mean, the other thing I can do is take D3, 1 removes IP, 1 retreats the guy and puts him to 2 steps, and then I could take a hit for the 3rd one and end up as a 1-step unit in Volchansk. That feels a bit meh as well, doesn't it? Because he's a strong unit. Well, I'm saying he's a strong unit. He's 3 steps just now, no matter what. Well, I'm saying no matter what happens here. That's not true. If we only end up with a D1 result, he's going to stay where he is and keep his 3 steps. But I'm not so sure that's going to be the result. Let me think a little bit. Nah, I think it's too strong a card. I mean, that could give me another activation of 2nd SS. You know, and although I can't obviously consecutive impulse them, like activate them twice, you know, I could maybe get somebody. Well, I don't know. I mean, two of them are. This one's under threat. This one's not. But I mean, these 2. But then I don't want to leave this empty, and I don't want to move away from Kharkov, really, do I? So am I going to want to activate them twice? I think, I mean, these things are kind of inevitable that we're going to get pushed back, and we're probably going to lose Volchansk anyway. We could get lucky with some chit draws, but I could still end up in Volchansk with 2 steps, you know, and that would be good. That'd be a good result. It'd be a really good result, but I suppose intelligence would help you get there. Because, you know, I could wait and see what all the chits are. If I end up sitting at D2, I could just say, right, I'm just going to take that, you know. Because I think I'd prefer a D2 result than a D1 result here, wouldn't I? because the IP is going to get moved off, and then I mean that does lose me a step too, but it means I'm back in the hex that I probably should have been in the first place, to be honest. Let's just go for it. I mean, yeah, I always come to that conclusion. I never play the combat tactic, do I? Let's never do it. Right, going to go with this 41 7 chats. We're looking for the worst result being D2. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do it. And they've got air power as well, Grant, remember. And they've got you flanked, and they've got a large attack. They do only have 41 odds though, so. But. Okay, are we doing it? Are we doing it? Are we going to try this intelligence? Nah, I'm just going to do it, because admittedly, if they end up with more result, if I end up with D3 or D4, 1, no wait now, I can retreat 1, 2, 3 for the IP. That's put me on 2 steps. So D4, I'm still surviving in that hex, just. But D3 wouldn't be a terrible result. I don't think I would sit in the town. I think I would just, sorry, I'm just got that off camera. I think if I get a D3 result, IP comes off, retreat into there, take a step loss, and then retreat and go, you're going dispersed as well, Grant. Okay, right, I'm doing it, right, I'm not playing nothing. Right, let's go. Get 7 chats, Grant. Right, here we go. Okay, the first chat, artillery wasn't played, so let's move on. Okay, that's pretty good actually. It's not applying as well. It was city or town not supported. City or attack not supported on the front. Town woods are broken. It is a clear X. I have just realised I've not got an awful lot going for me though. If you think about it, I've not got a defender adjacent. I mean, I really just need some chits like this to keep coming, really. Right, I'll get the third one. Oh, okay, well, keep them coming. Combat engineer was dispersed unsupplied on the other side. Just remember, I do have an IP, so IP crossfire, isn't it? That one. Let's see that one. Right, right. Well, that's 3 down. We've still not got hit. Wow. Right, okay. Only attacker armour turns 1 to 5, or only defender armour. We've both got armour. Yes, indeedy. I didn't think I would run out of space along the bottom bit here. So, let's hope I have to move the cards a bit. Right, I'll get the 5th one. Well, I would actually need to move the cards. It's 7 to 1 on the front, and the back, that's the back side of it, it's 5 to 1. That does not apply either. Now I'm starting to worry I'm going to be left in there. Yeah, I just realised when I drew that, I thought, wait now, we kind of want a D2 result here, Grant. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if he stays in there, then maybe we can work something. Sorry, maybe we can work our way to get something up in here eventually. You know, I mean, it's a 2 move. We're not going to get anything in there in 1 movement, but I don't know, maybe even just reduce these Rouse units. Retreat the Rouse unit. That's then going to leave access to Belgorod probably. Right, okay, you've got 2 chats to draw, Grant. Let's get that bit done first, please. Okay, there's our first hit. City Woods on the front, broken clear on the back. So that is a hit to us. A hit to them as well. But remember, I've got an IP. And so I'm not really bothered what comes up here. I don't know. I think I'd still prefer to retreat, right enough, but... yeah, well, just draw the check, Grant. Want to come? Right, well, no hit. It's City Town Woods, disperse and supply. So that's not applying. I've just run out of space to where to put it. That is a replenish check, but this is the first combat of the turn anyway, so there's nothing set aside. So that was an interesting battle. D1 and A1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chits drawn. Yeah, okay. Okay, and I'd noticed I hadn't turned my units around. Yeah, I'm just a big fail with that one. Again, as long as I know what I'm doing, that's fine. I've not been using my activated markers either, but then I suppose on the German side of things, you're not. Maybe when things kick in a little bit though, I maybe should do that just to. I can always probably check video footage to see what's been activated last. Right, so 1 hit to each of us. Well, it's pretty straightforward for us, and we don't have a choice with that one. I don't think so, because I suppose, like I've said, maybe retreating would be, but I don't even think I get the option with that. I know I had that wee incident the last time where I wondered if the hit from the across the river thing would kick in first, or if it had to come after. Soviet, no, that's not. Hang on. Yeah, it doesn't look like it gives you an option. It just it soaks up a hit for the IP. So that's that. Yeah, right. And then one of their guys has got to take a hit. Well, sorry, that was me. That was my hit done. So no IP anymore. But most steps, I think they're all 2-steppers. No, they must be. These are all 3. There's 3 units in here. So looking for the highest number. There's a 16 down the bottom there. He's the winner, isn't he? Yeah. So this guy down the bottom flips. And 2 strength. He's selecting number 27 now. And that's that. So yeah, not much of nothing. Air power didn't do them anything, so that was good. Got rid of a card. It didn't do anything. Yeah. Okay, right, let's quickly move on, because that's a sort of an hour now, and just do the attack check here. So it's unit 8 is going to be the lead unit, so you can only check this, and this guy's going to come along. So we've got 4, 6, 8, 10 against 5. He is going to get a +1 for being adjacent though. So let me get my table up there. So 10 against 5, so it's 10 against 6. So it's not 2 to 1 then. Adjacent to supply German unit. Yeah, it gets a +1 for that. Nothing else matters. There's not a reserve. And it's not auxiliary. What was it? Oh, but whatever it is. The one that brings in other units. I can't remember it now. I've got it in my hand. What is it? Assault coordination. Yeah. Not that it would help here anyway. Right, so 10 against 6. So it's greater than 1 to 1, but it's not 2 to 1. So we're going to do the check. What's the value of the card? It's a 3. So we're doing the tactical value check. So it's a 3. Situational strength is not 2 to 1. Artillery barrage bonus is not applying. It is in support. That's a 4. Only Soviet units have armour. No. Staying with a 4. If any attacking units are surrounded, they are not. Flanking will apply. It will not. Or defender will be surrounded and able to trace supply. No. If target hex is VP greater than 2, no, it's only a 1. If all combat tactics and auxiliary card apply to attack, well, that's what they do, because air power and partisans would apply because it's in the town. So that's a 5. Yeah, we're not going to get to 6, and they've not got less than 4 cards. Yeah, it's just a 5. It's not going to get to a 7. That's what I was trying to say there. So no attack there. That check is done. Now he had checked at the. We need to check. We do need to check this then, because he had checked as a lead unit on this. This guy is adjacent to this 2 strength unit. Do we need to look at this? He's 2 against 3 though, isn't he? Yeah, it's less than 1 and 1, Grant, because he's going to get a +1 for being. Yeah. Okay. Right, that's that. Right, I want to get this one put to bed because I feel like I've been at this impulse for ages. Nothing else to do, is there? Everyone's moved. Hold on. Did it say? Do we not have bounce back to reserves now? Is that not kicking on turn 2? Now maybe I should have checked the... Yeah, step 5. Yeah, glad I actually looked at that. Although I don't think, because they all moved, did they not? See, this is when you need to know if they've moved and whatever. That's the thing. These attacked, these moved. And that's why you need this procedure, because I think that would stop them. So step 5, let's get in the rule books. Sequence of play. And it's step 5. Within the Soviet impulse, is it? Yes, within the Soviet impulse. So we've just conducted step 3, was conduct attack checks and made attacks. Step 4 only happens from turn 4 onwards, where we place eligible active reserve units on the map. Step 5 is from 2 plus, from turn 2 onwards, remove eligible active units to the Soviet reserve units box. And this is 9.6. So we're going to look for that. Oh, and I managed to flip that right to the page. 25, page 25, 9.6, removing Soviet units to reserve from turn 2 onwards. Starting again turn 2 during step 5 of the Soviet activation. Check to see if any active units are removed from the map and placed in the Soviet reserve units box. In descending order, check active units one at a time in descending numerical order. If a unit is eligible for removal, remove it from the map and place it in the Soviet reserve units box. It may re-enter as a reserve in a subsequent activation. First check that the unit meets all these eligibility prerequisites for removal. The unit did not move or attack in this activation. Okay, just stop there, Grant. Right, yeah, every unit moved, didn't it? And these all attacked. So although these didn't attack, they moved. So they can't bounce back. Yeah, let's not read it, because I've not really got the time just now. We're going to get that. That's lodged in my mind now, though, the fact that we need to check this. Well, hopefully. So yeah, so none of that happening, and then from turn 4 we would place an IP, and then step 7 is remove dispersed markers, and there's no third tank army units dispersed. So we'll get rid of this card. Oh yeah, we've got another impulse to come, Grant, because this didn't get used. Okay, this moves across to the command card box, and we'll get to that in the next part, I think. Right, I'm going to cut this now. I'll tidy these units up, and then we've got another... Well, it's a mobile group pop-off activation as well, so that's going to take up another part at least. Great. Yeah. Yeah, that was... well, mind you, the partisans wouldn't have applied, would it? Because they had their... Yeah, they preferred that coming as a combat tactic, that rather than them getting an activation of pop-off now. Oh well, right. Okay, I'll be back with part... Is it going to be part 15, I think? I think it's going to be part 15. I'll be back with that shortly. Cheers.